The moment I stopped breaking this one rule, my losing streak ended. In the first 5 seconds, here's the solution that actually worked for me. I stopped staying in trades after my reason for entering was gone. That single change did more for my account than any strategy, indicator, or market condition ever did. I remember exactly how the losing streak felt. It wasn't dramatic at first. It was quiet. A few small losses here, a couple of break-even trades there, then one slightly bigger loss. Nothing alarming on its own, but emotionally, something was off. I was following my strategy on paper, yet my results kept bleeding. I told myself I just needed to stay patient. In reality, I was staying in trades that no longer made sense. I would enter a trade for a clear reason: structure, momentum, confirmation. Everything lined up. But when price hesitated or did something unexpected, I didn't exit. I waited. I hoped. I negotiated. That's where the streak lived. Not in bad entries, but in bad exits. I kept telling myself, it's just a pullback. The level will hold. I don't want to get shaken out. Those thoughts sounded responsible. They felt disciplined, but they weren't rules. They were emotions wearing logic as a mask. And every time I listened to them, I paid. The losing streak didn't end when I found better setups. It ended when I adopted one non-negotiable rule. If the reason I entered the trade is gone, I exit immediately. No exceptions, no waiting for stops, no hoping it comes back. That rule changed everything. Before that, I treated stops like suggestions. I treated targets like optional. I thought discipline meant staying calm no matter what price did. What I didn't realize was the true discipline is knowing exactly when to leave. I started reviewing my losing trades honestly. Not the entries, the moments where I should have exited and didn't. The pattern was obvious and painful. Most of my losses didn't come from the market being unpredictable. They came from me refusing to accept invalidation. Here's what was really happening. I entered trades with a clear thesis, but once money was on the line, I stopped respecting that thesis. I didn't want to be wrong. I didn't want to accept the loss. So I stayed. And the longer I stayed, the harder it became to leave. That's when I realized something uncomfortable. My losing streak wasn't a market problem. It was an identity problem. I was more focused on protecting my ego than protecting my capital. If this already sounds familiar, pause for a second. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share this with someone who keeps saying it just needs more time. This rule saves traders years of frustration. The rule itself is simple, but applying it is brutal. The moment the condition that justified my entry disappeared, I exited. Not when it felt comfortable, not when price came back a bit. Immediately. That meant exiting trades that still had a chance to work. That was the hardest part. At first, it felt wrong. I would exit, and sometimes price would reverse shortly after, and my mind would scream, "See, you exited too early." But I stuck with the rule, and something surprising happened over time. The exits I regretted emotionally saved me financially far more often than they hurt me. I stopped measuring success by whether a trade worked. I started measuring success by whether I followed the rule. Did I exit when my reason was gone? Yes or no? That became my scoreboard. Another thing changed immediately. My losses got smaller, not because I was smarter, but because I was faster to admit when I was wrong. The big drawdowns vanished. Losing days became manageable. Recovery became possible. The rule also killed hope. Before, hope would creep in as soon as price moved against me. Let me just see what happens. With the rule in place, hope had no room to act. There was nothing to negotiate. Either the condition was valid or it wasn't. I also noticed my psychology improved dramatically. I wasn't stressed during trades anymore. Why? Because I knew exactly what would make me exit. I wasn't guessing. I wasn't watching each tick. I was executing. This rule also forced me to get clearer on my entries. I couldn't say I exited because it didn't feel right anymore. I had to define exactly what made a trade valid. That clarity improved my entire process. Let me give you a real example. I entered a trade based on a breakout and retest. Clean structure, good momentum. My reason was simple. Price needed to hold above the retest level. When it dipped below and failed to reclaim, I exited. No waiting for the stop, no hoping it would bounce. I took the small loss. Old me would have stayed. Old me would have said, it's just a liquidity sweep. Sometimes that would have worked. Most times it wouldn't. New me exited, took the small loss, and waited. Later that session, a cleaner setup appeared. I took it with a clear head. That trade paid for the earlier loss and more. That's when it clicked. The rule didn't just reduce losses, it preserved mental capital. And mental capital is everything in trading. Drop a comment if you've ever stayed in a trade because you didn't want to accept you were wrong. You're not alone. This is where most traders get stuck. Another unexpected benefit was consistency. My win rate didn't magically skyrocket, but my equity curves smoothed out. Losing streaks shortened. Confidence stabilized. I stopped feeling like I was constantly behind. The rule also protected me from overtrading. When I exited early, I didn't jump back in emotionally. I reviewed. I reset. I waited for a new valid reason. That pause saved me from revenge trades more times than I can count. The truth most people don't want to hear. You don't end losing streaks by winning more. You end them by losing better, smaller, cleaner, faster. This one rule forced me to accept that the market doesn't owe me anything. Not time, not recovery, not validation. The only thing I control is my behavior when information changes. If this video is helping you rethink your trading, like it, subscribe, and share it before your next trade turns into another lesson. I want to be clear about something important. This rule is not about cutting trades randomly. It's about exiting when your original logic no longer applies. That requires preparation. You must define your reasons for entry clearly. If you don't know why you're in a trade, you'll never know when to get out. I started writing my reasons before entering. One sentence, I am entering because. That alone made invalidation obvious when it happened. The losing streak ended not because the market changed, but because I did. I stopped trying to be right. I started trying to be consistent. If you're stuck in a losing streak right now, I want you to hear this clearly. You don't need a new strategy. You need one rule you follow every time, especially when it hurts. If you made it to the end, you already care more than improvement than most traders ever will. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment, I exit when invalid if you're committing to this rule, and share this with someone who needs it before their next trade turns into another lesson. That one rule ended my losing streak. It can end yours too, if you're willing to follow it when it matters most.